We've been talking about the fact that the doctrine of discovery actually overrides United States laws because when it comes to disenfranchising American Indians, you have to rely on the doctrine of discovery because the Constitution was supposed to honor Indian sovereignty. And somehow the Commerce Clause is used, it's interpreted where it doesn't really or shouldn't indicate total domination of Indians, but the way Congress reads the Constitution, commerce means that Indians are supposed to be dominated. Well, that was the whole point of coming. The whole point of coming and occupying our ancestral land was to take hold and profit off of the resources. We were not supposed to be made citizens. It's like making conquest so much easier for your colonizer to do that. So he gets to treat you like a foreigner, and Indians think this is just the greatest thing, apparently. No. I'll just keep saying it. We were supposed to be as foreign to the United States as China is, or as foreign to the United States as Russia is, or as foreign to the United States as Africa is. We were not supposed to be under the jurisdiction of our colonizer. And as we said before, do we get treated any better for it? No. The more we caved in and submitted to total domination, the worse the treatment got. So what gives here? It's time for Indians to want their sovereignty because submission is not working. And we had a comment on one of our last few videos where the commenter says that, the Commerce Clause is saying that the United States regulates commerce with the Indian tribes and states. And I hope the commentator understands that Congress doesn't see regulating commerce as what it's written on the page. The way Congress interprets, once again, regulating commerce, it means that they have plenary authority. And the only way for us to see how unfounded that is to ask the question like we did when the United States engages in commerce with China. Do they totally dominate China? No. Okay. When the United States engages with commerce with any other foreign nation, does that mean that they dominate that nation, like make its rules, make its laws, right? But this is what the United States does with Indians. It doesn't just regulate commerce, but as we always say, what commerce is going on between Indian tribes and the states anyway? See, we have to overstate it because no one else is saying it. So yeah, unfortunately, a lot of the videos you'll see here, I'm gonna just be repeating what I said. Uh, so yeah, it's time for Indians to choose a different way. This way is not working. If anyone hasn't noticed, it's not working. Indian tribes don't control anything because of this plenary authority that Congress imagines that it has, that the Constitution never said it does. Well, what they're telling us, in essence, is that, duh, you can't let a foreigner regulate your resources because you won't get a dime from that regulation or that commerce that's taking place with your resources. Duh. Yeah. Well, every dog has its day, right? Um, we are peaceful Indians, so we never advocate violence. What we advocate is Indians not taxed as we are described in the Constitution. And from there, we'd have to agree that regulating commerce of a foreign nation is not really the normal thing in the rest of the world, right? So we would have to insist as Indians, if we're the sovereigns that we're supposed to be, we're supposed to be owning our land, and we can regulate our own commerce because it's our resources. So we're going to leave off with just this little reminder of how the doctrine of discovery overrides all laws in the United States when it comes to Indians. So we're going to get the worst of whatever's available, and the absolute worst is to go by the doctrine of discovery. So, how do we know that the doctrine of discovery overrides Constitution, law, state law, any law? It's all commerce, but these codes, rules, and regulations. How do we know that the doctrine of discovery overrides all of that when it comes to Indians? Well, we have to look at the three foundational cases in federal Indian law, which Peter DeRico, the attorney, calls federal anti-Indian law because he sees that federal Indian law is actually anti-Indian. Yeah. Well, in those three foundational cases, Judge John Marshall relied on the doctrine of discovery to take away land from the Cherokee Nation in one of those cases. Yeah. So Judge John Marshall did not go by any statutes and codes in the United States when he ruled that Cherokee Nation should give up their land to the state of Georgia. And he just said, I'll give you some land somewhere else. Just give it to Georgia. They need it right now. He didn't go by any federal laws, right? He went straight to the doctrine of discovery, and he said so. The judge relied on the doctrine of discovery. This is a Supreme Court judge. So for Indians that think that the Supreme Court is the way to go and, oh, they so righteous, they're stepping outside of United States laws to come for you, to take from you. That's what the Supreme Court judge did. He said that the doctrine of discovery gives him the right to do what he did and take away land from Indians. What does that mean? It means that you're still seen as heathen. The doctrine of discovery saw us as heathen. One argument this dumbass corporation might consider is that we're not heathen anymore. How many Indians do you see running around, running to church on Sunday? So why are you still treating us like heathen? When do we get our land back? So funky and foul up in here. The stench of this country fills the air and makes the world sick. When are you going to get right, United States? Getting right means leaving our land. That's what it means. Doing it the right way. Coming to us for our resources like any other civilized nation would. They wouldn't just steal it. Would that be civilized? They wouldn't just take control over it. Would that be civilized? And the sad part is a lot of Indians don't even like the sound of freedom. They don't like to hear this. Oh, you can't talk against the government. They trying to... Talking is the only God-given right that we have with these mouths we got. Remember, they spoke something about free speech, but after they change your standing on the land, they just take it away from you. How did they change your standing? State citizens became federal citizens. Indians became black, African. So once you become something that's not mentioned in the Constitution, you don't have any of those rights. But again, Indians were not supposed to be in the United States. They were supposed to be the Indians of this land and have our own rules and regulations and laws. And they don't have to be modeled after this system. In fact, I would suggest they be completely something else. We have that right. We don't want to mimic your oppressor's way of doing things. Again, we are peaceful Indians. We're just advocating the Constitution when it comes to Indians. And we are voiding the Commerce Clause. Really, the whole contract is void as the doctrine of discovery was repudiated. And this whole entire system was a result of the doctrine of discovery. Yes, the only way that the United States got here was through the doctrine of discovery. So everything is in our favor. They're just hoping that we acquiesce so they can say that we agree to slavery, eternal slavery, even after the doctrine of discovery has been repudiated. So now's the time for Indians, the wild Indians particularly, to stand up and reclaim your birthright. It's yours. It's yours. Federal Indians or civilized tribes are still relying on a foreign daddy to look after them. They don't seem to recognize abuse. They should be joining Indians in reclaiming our birthright. Till next time.